as evidenced by recent world events. Cutting-edge upgrades of time-proven tank designs are increasingly being used as the frontline armored and mechanized forces in modern combined arms warfare. As part of our ongoing product improvement for Steel Beast to accurately reflect platforms that are used worldwide, eSim Games is proud to present the T-72B3. The T-72B3 is an upgraded, regunned, and modernized variant of the Soviet T-72 tank, designed to bring this tank to a roughly T-90 standard. This includes incorporating a thermal imager and a separate scope for the commander to allow hunter-killer capability. The armor protection, while visually similar to the T-90, is actually Contact 5, with 4S-22 explosive elements, and is differentiated from earlier versions of the T-72 by the armor, where normally an IR spotlight would be. The T-72B3 also has an AT-11 missile that is fired through the barrel, giving it extra armor-killing capability. The purpose of today's video is to provide a quick start to help you get hands-on with one of the most interesting examples of the kind of hybrid armored warfare solutions that armies around the world field to compete in the modern battleground. This video will show you what new features, especially in a Steel Beast context for vehicles from the specific manufacturer, make this a notable addition to the modern battlefield, and how to use those features to your advantage in missions. The gunner's position, accessed by hitting F6, is a good place to start today's introduction. Note that like all other crewable vehicles in Steel Beast, using the Q and Z keys raises and lowers your position in the turret. A shortcut to this view is F1 from any scope view. Notably, one of the newest and most prominent tools is the gunner's thermal imager display, located to the left of many of the other available sights. Clicking on this screen brings the thermal imager display into the main view, or you can use Alt F2 to instantly access it. Should you ever find the thermal sight turned off like this, use the number pad plus key to turn it on again. The field of view, or zoom level, of the scope can be increased by 3 consecutive presses of the N key, and reversed back to the default widest setting using Shift-N key presses. When at the highest zoom level, the aiming reticule will take the form of a crosshairs, where the intersection of the lines on the reticule, as expected, is the aim and laser ranging point of the weapons. If the target is out of focus in the display, use number pad / and number pad * to adjust and fine-tune the focus to your liking, or more simply, use number pad delete to autofocus. The control key has multiple purposes at this station, but the main one, that being to range a target accurately to hit with the chosen weapon system and round combination, is still the primary use. A secondary use, which you may see if the automatic tracking system is turned on, is to designate which target is being tracked, shown by the visible box around the target. When automatic tracking mode is on, you will see a set of gates that automatically surround a ranged target, and, as we will describe shortly, designates a target the ballistic computer can track automatically under the right conditions. These conditions are when a target has been designated using the control key, while using sabot or heat ammo types. At this point, the targeting gates will form around the object, and the gun will begin automatically tracking, though another object entering the line of sight may disrupt it and cause the track to switch to another target, or be lost entirely. Note that if you are applying movement to the gun, it will attempt to keep those adjustments local to the tracking. Ceasing to make adjustments with the mouse or joystick will result in the system doing what it can to maintain your previous aim point. At this point, you can hit the spacebar as usual to fire your weapon, which will now have lead assumptions built into the targeting calculation. This will also stop tracking, allowing you the opportunity to reassess target damage and whether to switch to a new target. However, if instead of firing, you decide to break the lock, there are several easy ways to do it. You can press L to disable lock, or you can change round types, or you can change polarity, or you can change field of view, All of these will break lock and allow you an opportunity to relock a new target. At the widest field of view, seeing this specific combination of symbols means the gun is stabilized. As you switch to the narrower fields of view, zooming into the target visually, additional display details come up on the screen to help you understand key pieces of data. From left to right, firing conditions are met. Think of it as a ready to fire from the weapon system. The next symbol represents the type of round loaded. Here's a quick overlay of the actual ammunition selector these symbols correspond with, and their English translations. Kinetic energy, or SABO. High explosive anti-tank rounds, or HEAT. High explosive fragmentary, or HEF. Coaxial machine gun. Note that the coaxial machine gun is a separate ammunition setting, unlike some vehicles in Steel Beasts, where it is an on-off toggle. The machine gun will continue to be the selected weapon until a new ammunition type is selected. AT-11, or Gun-Launched Anti-Tank Guided Missile. The AT-11 sniper missile on the T-72B3 is both simple to use and a powerful weapon that creates new opportunities when engaging long-range targets, to a maximum of 5,000 meters under ideal conditions. It is also the first time in Steel Beast that a user-controlled tank is able to fire both main gun rounds and missiles through the same barrel. Range and track the target as usual using the control key. When the display shows you are ready to fire, press the space key to fire. Note that you as gunner will need to guide the missile to the target, especially if the gun loses tracking for some reason, such as an obstacle. It is not a fire and forget weapon. The AT-11 is also substantially slower than a main gun round, though it makes up for this in extended range and the ability to change course as needed. As you might already be familiar with if you have used earlier models of the T-72 and Steel Beast, the V key orders the autoloader to load the next selected tank round type. As gunner, it is essential to make this a habit, because the main gun will not be reloaded without this key press. The next field on the display shows the range in meters. Finally, the leftmost field shows which station currently controls the weapon system. This is to visually designate to the gunner if the tank commander has taken control. The day optics sight of the T-72B3 is accessed using F2. Other than minor differences in the reticule, in many ways the operation of this scope will seem familiar, especially if you have used a tank like the M1 in Steel Beasts. The process of ranging a target using the control key, while it is in motion to allow the ballistic computer to apply a lead in the final calculations, is identical, as is the use of the P key to dump the range if needed. Note the field of view, or FOV, lever, which switches the sight between 4 times and 12 times magnification, toggled using the N key. Use the R key to turn the reticule illumination on and off. Track the target as you normally would, and range as you would for an M1A2. While some of the symbology is different, the mechanics are very similar. The reticule is actually quite simple to use once you understand how it works. The aiming point is at the tip of the arrow. This same point is used to range the target by hitting Control. Our recommendation is to range again right before firing. Note that the tracking system still works in the day sight, despite the lack of visual tracking gates. As long as the thermal imager is functioning properly, and set to one of the 2 narrow field of view settings, the automatic tracking system will activate and track a target in the day sights. To break tracking, use the controls mentioned earlier in this video, with the L key for lock being the most convenient. As is normal for Steel Beast, the tank commander will let you know whether you hit the target and will give additional instructions on whether to keep engaging the target or switch to another target. This concludes Part 1 of our introduction of the T-72B3 in Steel Beasts. Please join us for the next installment of this series. You can experience the T-72B3 firsthand with the new version of Steel Beast Professional Personal Edition. Pre-order your license now in the eSIM Games web shop. Thank you.